Why am I so fuzzy? It's fuzzy. Is it just, am I just seeing it look fuzzy? All right. As soon as someone's here, tell me how the sound is. Do I look fuzzy? It seems like I look fuzzy. I'm starting this in 5 minutes, but I am just seeing how this works because I've never done it before. Um, it tells me when someone joins. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm seeing some names and I recognize the names. I need to know if I sound, if like you can hear me though. If, however that works. Am I going to be able to see, thumbs up? Nope. Can't hear you. Are you, oh, okay. All right. You're being a, yeah. All right. All right. I get it. All right. I think there's a way that I can see the live on my computer so I can try to look at the comments over here. Oh, is there a delay? Oh no, I'm just looking in the wrong spot. Okay. So I should be able to see comments here because they're very small on my screen here. But I think there is a delay. This is odd. All right. I have never done a live. If anybody knows anything about lives and like could tell me like things I could do, that would be awesome. There are buttons here. I know I have poll. No. I wrote these polls. I'm not sure where they are now. Quick poll. That is not what I wanted. Let's see. Why would it tell me that I could write polls ahead of time if now I can't see them? Again, if anyone has any ideas. Oh my gosh. Alana's a silent observer. Okay, I can see that. Awesome. Someone sped read through chapter 6. It's not long. I felt like chapter 6 was totally doable because it's like that it really doesn't take long at all. I wrote polls. This is really annoying. Why is it's flickering on my screen over here, but I don't know if that is just a thing for my screen or if that's happening in general. Man, all right, well. The internet says click on interactions and then select your poll. Okay. So that's what it was when before I hit actual go live. That's exactly what I did. I clicked on interactions and I wrote a poll. But now that I went live, I don't see interactions anymore. And I freaking wrote I don't know what any of these buttons do. Boards, dual, sound effects. I don't even know how to invite people to like join me on because the idea for this is not I'm just chatting for now, like, we're gonna start the book club stuff, like, in a couple minutes, but chat with me. No, Grimace, you might be right, there might just be a spot that I don't know. Why do I have that on me? I didn't do that. I didn't do that. Did someone do that to me? Is that a possible I don't think that's possible. 'Twas a gift, I don't know what that means either, but thank you. Oh, okay. I'm really I watch a lot of lives, but I've never done it myself. Yeah, seriously, I did. I created 2 different polls that I was excited to share. Um, okay, if I just start, oh my god, someone started okay, we're not talking about all the skills now, that's gonna be a different one, but, like, it's all the skills is really good. It took me a while to think that it was good, but it is. It took me a while to think that Dungeon Crawler Carl was good too. Like, let's while we are lightning no, before we start the actual discussion questions, lightning Q&A. Oh no, the lightning Q&A is like something dumb. Like I clicked on lightning Q&A before and it was like, what makes men awesome? And I was like, well, screw this. I don't want to. What? Um, Sticker poll? Nope, I have to do stuff for the sticker poll. Okay, I'm not going to even shake head. That's a lot of birds. I do like birds. So before we talk about the actual discussion questions, let's just talk about Dungeon Crawler Carl in general. The one of the these are really funny. One of the polls that I had made that now I don't know how to do was if people have read through, if this is a first time reading thing for anyone. I really am trying not to do spoilers, and that's one of the things I would like to for us all to do, like whether in the comments, if I can figure out how to pull anybody on with me, swipe to filter comments. I don't want to do that. I want to know like I read these books like years ago, so I don't even really think about spoilers now, but not everybody has. And so the idea with this was just chapters 1 through 6. So I'm really want to try to stick with just chapters 1 through 6. But hi Lisa. It's funny, like, we should see each other in person, not just here. But has anybody not read all of book 1? The series, anything. I just found all right. So Lord Grimace says I just found out about the books 2 months ago. Wow. Wow. Yeah, Suzanne, I think this is gonna be my 6th time through. Only not all of them though. Like book 7, I've only read twice. So I need that. I'm looking forward to the reread because I need to do that. Please, Lisa, can we do that? Let's plan a Saturday or Sunday. Spoiler, you will not break me. And that's where, like, I think some inside jokes, I don't think those are spoilers at all. Like, for example, I have a mug. But, that says the eradication. I got this at Lit RPG Con. That's not a spoiler. That's just an inside joke. It doesn't make any sense unless you've read the books. So it's not a spoiler. Just found out about it this summer. The entire series in 39 days. I think that sounds about right. Yeah, I read the first book in 2022. I was told about it. Actually, Lisa, if you're still on, Sarah told me about this book. Sarah used to be the CEO of a company where Lisa, who's in the chat right now, and I worked. And like it was a decent sized company and like a CEO. And she just like casually texted me and was like, hey, you might enjoy this. I'd never heard of anything. I didn't know what Lit RPG was. And now I am obsessed. Yes. Sarah is the one that told me about it. We definitely I want to talk about this book, book 1, chapters 1 through 6. I'm about halfway through Operation Bounce House, and so far I like it a lot. Yep. All right. So let's start talking about Dungeon Crawler Carl, chapters 1 through 6. The reason why I chose chapters 1 through 6 is one, just to test this out, because I've never done a live. I don't know how this really works. And I wanted to see, if I could even do this. But I feel like just up until chapter 6, it's a really good intro. It's just the beginning. It's when people say, oh, here's what Dungeon Crawler Carl is. It's about a guy and a cat and they go into a dungeon. They're talking about just chapters 1 through 6. They're not talking about anything else. It's literally just the setup for the entire series. So that's the idea for here is first impressions. When the first time you've read it, and for those of us that have read it a few times, try to think about your first time through and how some of the stuff stood out to you. And, what, if you are rereading it, things that maybe we're catching that we didn't catch the first or second or third time. Because I caught something this time that even though this is my 6th time reading this book, I hadn't caught before. Um, okay, so I did do a video of going like summarizing the chapters, but basically, chapter 6 ends as soon as Donut eats the pet biscuit. So chapters 1 through 6 are just Carl. It's Carl and a cat, and it's just a cat. The very end, the last thing that happens in chapter 6 is Donut says her first line. So it is just Carl. So what happens is Carl goes into the world ends. Carl goes into the dungeon. He kills a goblin. He meets Mordecai, goes through the tutorial, and gets some loot boxes and opens his loot boxes. He puts on his shirt and his cloak and is contemplating the biscuit. And he's thinking, I shouldn't feed my cat, my pet cat, this. I'll invite Josh. I shouldn't feed my cat this biscuit because it could kill her. And Mordecai is very clear that this pet biscuit, if you feed it to the pet, there's really no telling what's going to happen. He said 50% of the time it is a positive effect, and 50% of the time it's either neutral or negative. He said there was a very real chance that it would kill her, that that he really thought it was just going to turn her into a mob. He was like, but don't worry, do it here in the safe room, because if she eats a biscuit and becomes a mob, she'll just be teleported away. And so basically Mordecai tells Carl that if Donut eats this pet biscuit, she's just gone. She's going to disappear. She's going to just leave and be somewhere else. So and Carl's thinking, no, I'm not going to feed her this, she's just a cat. Like, this is sort of a shitty situation for her to be in. Let's not even do that. And then Donut jumps up, eats a biscuit, turns into a fleshy mob on the floor. Carl says, oh my God, what's happening? And then Donut says her first line. So that is just through chapter 6. But there's a lot, I think, that sets us up for what the series is before, like, in those first 6 chapters. There's a lot of sort of block text. There's a ton from the AI. Chapter 1 has 2 full pages of just AI text, of AI, like, here's the 18 floors. Here's what's going to happen. Here's how many exits are going to be on each floor. It, like, the first time through, I didn't pay attention to that at all. Now on a reread, every single word that's said there comes into play. And it's all important, but the first time through, you don't need to pay attention to it at all. So that's my first question, is that opening text, which is literally in chapter 1, and is literally 2 full pages. Your first time through, obviously, I think it's going to be mirrored. I don't know. But it starts here, like, it's 2 full pages of, like, before part 1 even starts, of just, this is about the world dungeon. More than 2 pages. What were our thoughts the first time we read that? That's my first question. So this is where you all need to type your answers. And if I can try to figure out how to get other people on screen. It does say I could, like, invite to co-host. If anybody wants to come on screen with me, let me know. Even if it's just for a little bit. It was a lot the first time. Oh, book talk dance. Let's see. I'm good. All right. Dan, can you? You're little on my screen.
Can you see me?
I can't see you. You have to. I think you click your own profile and then you say, like, share video. But I can hear you.
It says I'm audio only. I don't know why.
Okay, well, it'll be audio only.
This is my first time too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, no, I'm a new listener to the series, so I started this summer, and I just joined Book Talk and TikTok recently because my kids were always on it, so I got on it to kind of keep track of them. and I started seeing the book talk stuff, and I saw Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I'm like, that sounds interesting. And I literally slammed through all 7 books.
So the first time you read it, that like wall of text from the AI that's right in the beginning, like that first chapter, and then, oh, hey, there you are. Now I see you. You're little on my screen, but I see you. Yeah, you will not break me. Did you just sort of like, did you really get in? Did you understand any of that? The like all of the 18 floors, all of that information?
Yeah, I did. It was like I've never been into lit RPG before. I didn't even know what it was, and didn't really care that much about lit RPG because it was just a good story. And I have recently started picking up some other lit RPG. I actually just finished a book by S.L. Steve Rowland, the author. S.L. Rowland, the author.
I have one of his books right there.
Yeah. So like I picked him up because of his character in Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yep.
And
author Steve Rowland, who doesn't show up until book 6.
Yep. And so new to lit RPG, and it's cool, but like the story is great, the characters are great. I absolutely love this whole thing as everybody else does. I became obsessed with it, and just
Okay, but my question is specifically like all of that AI text stuff, like the first time, because it sort of introduces like what the lit RPG is, because it's very game, it's very meta, right? Like it's very much like we're playing a game, and it's giving us like the tutorial, like, okay, here's how you use your controllers. But it has a lot about all 18 floors that I think the first time through just were it like this has no context, I think is really the way I was thinking of it.
I understood it a little bit, but the more you got into the books, the more the more it made sense, because like you realize like most as you learn the lore of the dungeon, people don't make it past typically the 12th floor.
Because Mordecai says that, like, when he meets Mordecai specifically says that no one's made it past floor 13.
Yeah. So, and who knows what's going to happen in this story? But well, Matt Dinniman does, obviously.
Only sort of, though. Here, like, this is where, like, I definitely want to sort of sprinkle in some, like the insider information, whether it's me or just, those of us that watch obsessively everything that Matt Dinniman does and his interviews and everything. But, like, so at Lit RPG Con, I met Matt Dinniman. I literally have one of my books back there signed, very personalized, and I'm his best bathroom buddy. And that's a whole story, and that was a lot of fun. But he said that when he goes in, he does very little planning. He does a teeny bit of planning when he writes, but he is definitely one that just like goes and starts typing. And if you follow his Patreon, we can see that he's literally unfolding stories like for book 8 right now as he goes. But he said that he knows the very end of book 10, but he doesn't necessarily know all of the steps in between. So a lot of these little things he doesn't know either, or he hasn't decided yet.
I haven't followed his Patreon yet because I want to wait till everything is all said and done. Like some people are like reading chapter by chapter.
Yeah.
And
he calls himself a pantser. That's right, Persephone. Like have in between the plan, and I don't even know all the terms, but it's not completely by the seat of his pants, but he has a teeny bit of a plan. I follow his Patreon, but I didn't read any of book 7 through the Patreon. I waited till it came out partially because I'm completely audio. Like I have a really hard time literally just reading on a page. I got the arc of Operation Bounce House quite a while ago now, and I am only halfway through, and that is not a long book. And it has taken me just to watch. Whereas the first 6 chapters, like this, that took me like 20 minutes to listen to.
Yeah, and I drive a lot for work, so I spend so much time in the car. I have the book queued up all the time, and it's just like I would sit in the car when I got home from work, or if I get to my destination, I would sit in the car because I was at a good point in a chapter, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't stop listening right now.
It's so good.
They're just so incredible.
I want to let's see a couple comments that have come through that I think are like talking about this too, that the AI like just block text like wow, this is complex. soon as the world's flattened, I think that like that is such a oh my gosh moment. Like that hooked a lot of us, and that's literally like paragraph 3 is Mrs. Parsons' head on the ground and world is gone. The I went, so Scotty's Bookshelf talks about going back and referencing that. That's what I've done too. I've gone back and referenced that big block text about the 18 floors, and I'm going to continue to do that. I think the thing that's going to be important now to really reference going in now to floor, like we're going into floor 10, where we are in book 8, is it talks about how many exits are going to be, as in there's only going to be one exit at floor 18, and so it's half every time. So I think that little detail in that block text is going to now become important. Before it was like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of exits, we don't really have to worry about that, even when the exits are hard to find. But there's going to be fewer and fewer, drastically, literally halved as many exits, and I think that that's going to be important in the next couple books.
The AI is a good plot point because it helps describe what's going on sometimes, because a lot of times it's authors have to go into so much background to talk about what is happening and setting up the plots and stuff like that. So the AI is nice because it kind of fills in a lot of those voids and tells you what's going on, and it loves feet.
And he does love. I didn't really realize, like, I forgot how quickly the AI does his foot fetish. Like, it's within the first 6 chapters that we have the first very disturbing AI message, especially if you listen. I don't know if anybody's ever seen this, but Jeff Hayes, when he narrates, like, he has recorded himself narrating, but there's the scene where it says it sounds like the guy beating himself off, and like that's how it's described in the book. But the way that Jeff Hayes recorded that, if you watch it, like he has like a pen or something, and he's like going like this to the pen as he's narrating it to give it that like jerky sound, literally. So I thought that was really funny, a fun, behind the scenes way of making your voice do that. So it was like, above board, but.
I do a lot of audiobooks, and Jeff Hayes
is incredible.
Really hits it out of the park. But I know Ginger and the Fox is going to have Ray Porter on later on their
yep.
And he's he's one of my favorite of all time. Audiobook narrators, but Jeff Hayes just is like the voices and the way he transitions and
it's incredible.
Yeah.
And that's another question actually that I don't have as one of my discussion questions, and I want to get to my discussion questions. And so but let's answer this. And Dan, I'm going to keep you on for this question, and then if you don't mind, I'm going to see if I can invite somebody else to come on. But did you listen the first time through?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And people in the chat too, answer this question too. Did anybody like read it with their eye holes or like mostly listen? I do think that part of the magic of this series, and one of the reasons why it hit so big, is because of Jeff Hayes. I think that the narration is so good that like I've convinced now a lot of people to read this book. I've been talking about it for 4 years. So I've been telling a lot of people to read this book. And I have a couple friends who don't do audio at all, and they're still captivated and they're still hooked when they're just reading it. But the audio, I think, like is part of the special sauce of this series. Like there's obviously something about this series that makes it different, that makes it more captivating than a lot. And I think Jeff Hayes is one of those things.
Oh, 100%. His just the voices, and I mean, I have literally laughed and cried within probably a matter of 5 minutes, and just he makes you feel the characters, because like I just finished like the Fourth Wing trilogy, and like people died in it, and I just you didn't really feel it, like you weren't emotionally involved with some of the characters, and just like I won't give away any spoilers.
No, I haven't read any of them. Don't spoil anything.
Oh, no, for the Dungeon Crawler Carl, but
I
won't give away any spoilers for later books. But there's been times when characters have died, and I've just been like in my car, like trying to not crash because I'm tearing up driving down the road, because you're so involved in these characters, and they're side characters for the most part, but it's just the way that they get the interaction and everything like that.
Yeah, it's incredible. I know this. Here's one last question about the narration of it, especially just right in the beginning. I've spoken with at least 3 people that I've convinced to listen to the series and check out the series, that truly thought that it was more than one narrator.
Oh yeah,
And like one person was like, oh, well, it's only 2. It's like, there's the guy that does everything and then the person that does Princess Donut, and really thought Donut was somebody else. But like at least 3 people who were convinced it was more than one narrator.
oh yeah, yeah. And I know he put guest voices in there for a couple of characters, but yeah, no, his voices are amazing.
Yeah. All right. I want to talk about the next question on my discussion. Dan, are you okay if I try to like maybe get somebody else in and then you can come back on after?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Kick me out.
Okay, let's see if I can do this.
Cheers.
I'm hoping I didn't like kick you from the live and just from that. Persephone, any chance you want to come on? So my next question is the first, would you enter the dungeon? Like again, we're talking. Okay, good. I'm glad you're still here. If this happened for real, would you stay on Earth or would you go in? And if you go in, Carl goes in with nothing. I don't even know how you would prepare, but like he gets a loot box and he gets an achievement for going in with nothing. Like everything's destroyed. Like there's not even like a car to like look through a trunk. So I'm not sure what you could find, but would you try to find things before you went in? And if so, how? But would you go in? That's the next question. Tree branch? I mean, maybe, right? Like it's a dungeon. And I know I saw a couple people talking about like that the game side wasn't as confusing because you've played RPGs. Same, I'm a gamer, so it didn't seem at all foreign to me, or like, playing WoW, any of those, anything where, you understand games in general, but something. All right. Oh, the garden tools. Garden tools are a good idea. Like things that are just in the yard. Maybe that's a difference too if like you're in a city or like, I mean, my yard is still has my garden tools just sitting out in my yard. So that's an idea. It could be harder to find an entrance if you're not in a city. All right, so I see a lot of people going in. Go in, yeah. Survive doubtful, yeah. Same. I mean, most of us wouldn't, right? But given the description from the Boring Company, I would have not gone in. That's interesting. I mean, obviously it's pretty ominous, but like, there's nothing with a roof, like. Yes, obviously, and like we're assuming we're outside, right? Like it was 2 a.m. in Seattle, so that would have been like I'm Eastern Standard Time, obviously, so that's like what 5 a.m. I'm still inside, but still, pretend you were outside, pretend you survived. Like I'd go in, be lucky to make it past the first floor. Obviously, I think that's most of us. It's winter. Yep. like, yeah. We all know the messy neighbor with all the things in the yard. Excuse me, have you been spying on my yard? Judgment much? I mean, I would not pick up Mrs. Parsons' head. I don't think I'd pick up the head as, a weapon, whatnot. Probably would be looking at the ground, though. But, the counter to that is Carl does get a bunch of achievements for being one of the first people in, being one of the first 5,000 crawlers and being the first person with a cat that goes in is why he got the legendary pet box with the biscuit. All right. One of the other things that like there's the wall of text, but on page 2 of the book, there's Carl sort of switches into more of talking to the audience. He specifically says, I won't bore you with too much backstory, but my name is Carl. And he talks about himself in a way that he's like talking to us, the reader, which I almost think is both interesting, like it caught me, but also like a little amateurish, but that's just my judgment. And there's a couple things like that, like, oh, I don't know if I've told you, but I'm 6'2" and 230 pounds. Like he describes himself in a way that's very straightforward. the style of writing is a little bit different than normal, not just the lit RPG side of it, but that's another discussion question. Did any of that affect your reading, your perception, like what kind of book you were getting into? I know for me, it was very much like, okay, this isn't literature, like, the stuffy literature. This is going to be a little bit more fun, but also, it struck me as amateurish, but in a good way. 6'3", yeah, herd of goats. That's good. Um, Everything else is written so well. I gave him a pass on those little things. I think that that's a really good point. The other thing that I know I put in the discussion questions is Carl. I want to actually read these because I think it's important. I do not think it was intentional. So right on page 2, Carl says he's like, this is literally the third paragraph of the book. I was holding a crying, scratching, squirming, and spitting cat named Princess Donut the Queen Anne Chong. She is a tortoise-shell Persian worth more than I make in a year. And that is on the top right here. Right here, so you can see, like, this is not far away. It says, I could respect the little monster's tenacity. Some of my buddies would give me crap about it, spending all this time with a fuzzy cat that was probably worth more than I made in a year. The exact same phrase repeated right there. That to me is not intentional. That was, he wanted to put it in there and have that phrase and accidentally left it in both places. I really feel like if it was meant to be repeated, he would have said, as I said, she's worth more than I made in 1 year. So like, that's super nitpicky of me, but still that stood out to me as being like, okay, again, I'm feeling like this is, a book that was published online, because it was. Repeating phrases drives me nuts in general. Same, like Heather, it just, like, because I listen to books, like, I hear it, and I hear it in very published books. Like, I read a lot of like mystery and thriller, and I hear it in those too. And so like, it absolutely is just like an editing thing. It's, their eyes glazed over and they weren't just reading it fresh and missed it. But that, it didn't bother me that phrase was repeated, but to me it showed that it was a little, and I don't want to say novice, but that it wasn't as professional, which it wasn't. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. I don't think that the book would have been as funny and as raunchy and as sort of unhinged if it had been traditionally published. The second time he said that his friends said it a lot. He said his friends no, not really. The second time he says it, the exact phrase, and again, this is just page 3. Oh, okay, that my buddies would give me crap about it, spending all the time with a fuzzy cat that was probably worth more than I would make in a year. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed having that ball of fuzz sitting on my lap. Yeah, so it was more like buddies are giving me crap about it. But I just think that, like, he could have used a different phrase for what his buddies were giving him crap about. Alana, I'm a stickler for repeating words and phrases. Yeah, I can't remember if I caught it my first time through. Less polished. I think I think less polished is probably the best way to say it. And like, I'm using amateur, and that's probably not the right phrase. Less polished. And less polished is also why we have probably half the jokes that we have in this book. And that's a good thing, in my opinion. I really think that if this had been through like a giant publishing house the first time around, I can't imagine that an AI beating himself up to beat would have stayed in the first few chapters of a book if a major publishing house had put this out. Alana, you're less likely to notice on audio. I am definitely much more likely to notice on audio. But that's me. All right. Next, When in chapter 2, Carl goes into his first fight, he meets the goblins, and he not only kills his first goblin, but he ruthlessly kills it and splatters the goblin's head on the ground. And he, first gift, yay, thank you. I don't really know what that means, but that's awesome. Um, I think, like, should I say, like, you're supposed to, like, be tapping for hearts or something? I think that's algorithm. I don't know. But it, that when he talks about, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm about to take a life with this goblin, but then he's really excited about it, and he clearly, it isn't just regret. Carl enjoys killing that very first goblin, and then he goes and kills the other two, and he almost has a little fun with it. Um, I think that that's mostly like he thinks he's in a game, and um, obviously he doesn't know that any of these goblins are real. But what that's like still one of your first impressions about Carl. What sort of impression did that give you when he smushed this goblin and crushed his head in? Um, Oh, while you're typing your answers, please type the answer to, like, your first impressions of Carl. I want to answer Brandy's. I didn't know it hadn't been published traditionally. These books still have not been traditionally published. So these are completely self-published. They were, it's Lit RPG. Matt Dinneman posted all of these on Royal Road. And they became the most popular books on Royal Road. Royal Road is where Lit RPG gets published. It's very similar to, like, AO3 for fan fiction, but it's for Lit RPG, and that's where he posted it. And it became incredibly popular on Royal Road, so he then actually turned it into a book and published it. So the original cover that we had, it was what he had then commissioned as a cover, or I don't know, the art story for it. These versions, though, Penguin, it's Penguin, right? Yeah, Penguin Random House isn't the publisher; they're the printer of these books. If I'm understanding this correctly, that they then got the contract to print these books in this professional format, unlike the paperback trade copies, which are sort of self-published. But Matt Dinneman still is, if I understand this correctly, the publisher of the book, and Penguin is the printer. And if anyone wants to correct that, let me know, but I'm pretty sure that I remember that correctly. Yeah, paperback copies going for huge money on eBay. Sure wish that I had, like, gotten them when they were a couple of dollars. Like, when it was easy to find them, but I don't do readings, so. But Carl, our first impressions of Carl. Any thoughts? Did Ginger and the Foxes join? I see an at. I see Ginger and the Foxes. And Joe, we are going to be done by 9 because I want to go to the Ginger and the Foxes live after this. So initial thoughts on Carl. Carl as a himbo? I never thought of Carl as a himbo, but I sort of love that. Yeah. I think Carl could absolutely be in the himbo. I mean, he starts with an intelligence of, what, 3? So, yeah, I think that could be a thing. It took me a while to warm up to him. Suzanne, that's so interesting. That, like, so many people, and our next time we're going to talk about chapters 7 through 20, and that's a lot of, like, now we meet Donut. This first 6 chapters is really about Carl. And I've heard repeatedly, and I have many opinions about the hatred for Donut in the first 20-ish chapters. I hadn't really heard a lot of, like, icky feelings about Carl, though. So, Carl's a golden retriever. Yeah. Yeah, he is. He's steady. He's pretty reliable. Like, huh. Um, yeah, but I like the himbo energy for the idea of Carl. Um, w- uh, if you still have thoughts about Carl, feel free. And again, if anybody else wants to join me on here and talk, tell me. Um, wasn't sure about him getting his character and where it was going. I mean, I think that that's super valid, especially with him expressing all of that joy in killing the first goblins. Like, it was a little like, which way is this guy gonna go? Um, Now I think Carl is a standard man. Hey, all right, one other like lore drop that I know of in terms of Carl that Matt Dinneman talked about at Lit RPG Con is that somebody, I don't know if it was Lit RPG Con or one of a interview, but anyway, at some point it might have been the Felicia Day thing that somebody asked something about like Carl and love interest. And I loved Matt Dinneman's response to this because, again, looking forward a little bit, Carl does meet other crawlers. There is even at one point encouragement to potentially start a relationship for the views, for the algorithm, for the gram. And he doesn't start a relationship with someone. I'm not talking about book 8 right now, just books 1 through 7. But Matt Dinneman talks about this as like they're in a fight for their lives. Like this is literally like life and death stress all the time. They're not thinking about like, oh, who am I going to date? And I really, really hope that that energy stays. I don't want Carl to be in a relationship. I don't want any of that in this series. It's like I don't know if you've ever watched Naked and Afraid, but like they're two people and they're usually opposite gender and usually they're fairly like, gender conforming and heteronormative. And the question has come up like, why aren't they like, looking at each other like that? It's like they're covered in mosquito bites and like starving and freezing their asses off in, being naked and literally afraid. Bodies aren't that interested in romantic encounters when that happens. And I think that that is really similar in a dungeon situation. When you're literally fighting for your life, you're not thinking about like, oh no, who has a crush on who? And I feel like if the series ever went that way, it would almost diminish it. So like that lack of relationship stuff, like I like thinking about Carl as a himbo and, who's type and whatnot, but I don't want it in the book. Yeah, I don't want him to have a love interest. It's not what the story's about. It's not even like within the plot that it would make it a vulnerability. That's not what this story is. Okay, Persephone, do not join. You're in a car. Please drive safely. And Suzanne, house is chaotic. I get it. I had to tell my kids to be quiet, and they still might not be. Suzanne, want to join for a little bit? I'll come up with I can say the next question. Richie! Hi, Richie. Okay, but still. All right, Suzanne, I don't know how to invite you. Add yes? I push a button. I'm gonna see what happens.
Hi, do you hear me?
Hello! I can hear you.
All right, let me get my camera going. There we go.
All right, I'm gonna thrust a question on you as soon as you're ready.
All right, there. All right.
There you are. Freshly reading all the skills, and I'm excited about that. And that will be a different conversation. All right, Mordecai. Let's talk about Mordecai because we meet Mordecai in these first couple of chapters. And one of the things that really stood out to me in rereading this is how much we learn about Mordecai in just a few sentences. That, like we learn about the Skyfowl, we learn about his mother, we see a picture of his brother, we saw all this stuff right away. Do you remember what your first thoughts of Mordecai were the first time you read it?
I love that he referenced Master Splinter. Like, even when you said him, Mordecai, I'm like, oh, like, that's like big thing, because I grew up with Ninja Turtles, and absolutely love them, right? So, like, him being Master Splinter is like, was perfect, because then you start to meet him, he's their guide, like, all of this.
Like Master Splinter?
Yes. Like he gets frustrated at them, like Master Splinter, But yeah, I mean, at first though, before even that though, like when he first like just cracks open the door, like that, especially going back and listening again and
Yep.
reading again, it just cracks me up. Like, what's going on? No, the door's not open yet.
Exactly.
Like,
No, we
while
still have
Carl's
2
like
years.
trying to bang down the door,
Yeah.
and no, it just totally cracked me up with that. And
I think it really
Donut
shows like
slipping
him like
in.
opening the door a little bit like that and like talking about, like, hey, we still have 2 years left. Obviously, like we're already learning, like, wait a minute, like this dungeon
Yeah.
was rushed. Things are going to go wrong. But I think right then in that teeny little moment, we're learning that Mordecai is like, he's strict on the rules. Like he's like, nope, I will not let you in. But then also like we can tell that like he has their best interest in heart, like right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
That he's like, okay, I shouldn't even tell you this, but I'm going to anyway.
But I'm going to anyway.
Yeah. And he does it twice. He does it twice really, really
And
quickly.
he even does it in a way of saying, like, hey, just so you know, anytime you mention this, they're going to be listening in.
Mm-hmm. And he says it in such a careful way, right? Like, they're always listening. They're not always paying attention, but.
Right. Yes, enough so that then Carl says, wait some time, and then goes, okay, I want to talk about the thing we don't talk about.
Yep.
No.
Two other, like you just had talked about Master Splinter, two other quick, like little lore insider things that I know. And if anybody, I mean, again, other people know way more than I do. But one, Matt Dinniman has talked about his pop culture references. And people have asked, like, there are a lot of pop culture references like Master Splinter. But he is very clear that he doesn't want to include anything that's like within the last 5 to 7 years. He doesn't want anything that's like current because he wants to know that references will have stood the time and that there's still something that we know about because there are so many pop culture references in this. Master Splinter is just one, but there's never going to be something that is very, very new and current. Like he even talked about, he wouldn't even necessarily include something like Taylor Swift, which even goes back further, but is still very relevant today. Master Splinter is sort of, but it's not the same relevance as it was 10 years ago. So that's one thing, one little lore thing that I know. The other
I didn't know that one.
Which I thought was really interesting. The one other little lore thing is actually because of somebody in the chat right now. Richie, who is in the chat, whenever anybody sends Matt Dinniman feet pictures, which they do, they go not to Matt Dinniman. They go to this guy that's in the chat right now. And he gets all the feet pictures.
Yes. I've heard that one. When the Ginger and the Fox is live.
Yep. They go. How many feet pictures have you? I'm curious, Richie. How many have you had? While he talks about his feet, Mike said it's a more profane Ready Player One. I hate Ready Player One. I hate it.
I still haven't read. I haven't done Ready Player One yet.
I hate that book so much because, but I see a lot of parallels between Dungeon Crawler Carl and Ready Player One with the with all those pop culture references. Like in Dungeon Crawler Carl, it said this rat thing that looks like Master Splinter opens a door, and that's all it says. Ready Player One would be this rat thing that looked like Master Splinter. The rat from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The turtles that live in the sewer. Like, it takes it too far. And it's like those little Easter eggs. It's like
Family Guy. The Family Guy keeps going on and on and on with it.
Yes. Which then is TV show.
Yeah.
I do hate Ready Player One.
Elena just said you hate Ready Player One. Mongo is appalled.
I saw that. I hate it. I hate it. Oh, thanks, Mike. I should tell you how I really feel. Not enough feet, Richie? Not enough?
Everybody keep sending feet pics so Richie gets more.
Come on. We've got a couple more books. There's going to be more feet. All right. So a couple other now, like going into some more analysis. Whenever I'm reading a book, especially by a man, I just look for like, is this a safe place? And when I first read this, no one was talking about it. like it wasn't, no, it was not printed. It was, still sort of in the Royal Road stages. No one was talking about it. So it was really hard to like find like somebody saying, no, actually, like he's a good guy. This is a good thing. And so I'm looking for flags. I just want to know, because there are a lot of pop culture references. There are a lot of things like, is this going to go like a little too bro? And like, which isn't saying that that's bad, just not my jam. And there are two things that I think that happened right in the first 6 chapters. One, he called the goblin engineers are the incels of the dungeon. So using the phrase incels to me was like, okay, so like,
where are we going to go with it was my first thought. All right, so we're going to talk about incels, but which way?
Like, even just gonna... like I think the wrong people aren't necessarily even going to use the phrase incels. So like to me, it was like, true. Okay, like saying incels is a bad thing and putting that right there made me feel a little safe. But then on page 29, I think it is, saying "You're my world, speak my language." It like, again, just because I've been around and seen so many things of like, you're in America, speak English, and it's like, screw you. So like that to me was like a little like, how's this gonna go? And it's not a problem. It's just like that little like tickle of which way is
it makes you think a little bit like, all right, what is this going to do? I think it reminds me of a conversation I think we had a while back on another video of yours, like to say like, oh, I read this book like 20 years ago. I didn't even think that.
Yes.
Whereas now, I'm definitely more aware of some of that, and what do I think and things like that, where before I might not have been.
Absolutely. 20 years ago, somebody saying like, you're in my world and speak my language, I would have been like, oh, of course you should. Like, I would not have ever clocked it. But like, this is current and this is referencing sort of a today culture. I can tell you that Operation Bounce House is social commentary, the book.
Nice.
Well, like I am both impressed and almost like interested in the reception it's going to get. But like this was just like, and that is me being hypersensitive, and I own that. But
I think sometimes social commentary is a good thing though too. Like, I'm definitely interested to see in what way they do it,
Yep.
And all of that. And
I know I think I made a video about this, that like the book got to the point where I was like, okay, no, this is good. This is commentary, not endorsement. And
there's
like
a difference.
There is a difference. Like there is a lot of making fun of bro culture. There's a ton of that. But it, the first time through, it like that's where when I read this, I didn't even tell anybody about it or like, hey, anybody should read this until I was on book 3. Nobody. Like I was like, I like it, but it's super dumb, but also way better than it should be. But like I wasn't quite sure where it was going until I got to book 3. So this first 6 chapters though, it really did just it started setting the stage, and I was still curious. I still wasn't quite sure which direction that stage was going. And I don't know if anybody else feels the same way.
I wasn't sure. I admit that. Like what I said with that thing is like, at first it was like, I was hesitant. Like, what was your first thought of Carl? Like, I just didn't know. Because the way he starts introducing, and of course I listened to it first too. I didn't read it. So you have Jeff Hayes narrating it with the Kronk style voice at that point, and you're listening to it, you're trying to figure out, why is he saying these things? What is going on? Like, I couldn't even fully get everything together until I think probably 4 or 5 chapters in.
Yeah. And that's where like I'm gonna do a IRL book club in a couple weeks with my library about this book, and nobody has read any lit RPG, which I hadn't either. But even just the beginning, these first 6 chapters, like I'm looking at it a lot more critically this time because I'm looking at it through a different point of view. It's the same way like I read Project Hail Mary for my book club. I had already read it, and the second time through, I noticed a lot of like little things, and it didn't make me not like the book, but it made me like just hyper aware of some of the things that I wish had been changed. And like it was similar with this, like with that repetition, with like this, like I'm not quite sure which is this saying bro culture's good? Is it saying it's not? And I wasn't sure in these like first few chapters. And all of that like game stuff, all of that wall of text, and this is definitely the like lit RPG, like it's game light. It doesn't have as much as a lot of other lit RPG with literal stat blocks constantly. It still does have a lot, you know, if you've never read anything. It still has a lot of that sort of taking out menus and stuff that people think aren't part of the story, but they are. But you have to like, it takes you a while to know that it's actually part of the story.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I want to talk about, because it is one of my special interests and one of my areas of, actually, I wrote a thesis on paratextual elements of books. And paratextual elements are everything that's not the actual story. It's the cover. So these books have amazing paratextual elements because there's a cover. There's more than one cover. They have things like that, which, you know, it's like this all adds to the story. The font, the idea that the AI font is different, like that. The covers, though, are, and I wish I knew how to like put photos up on here because I do have like both covers on here. But the original cover, I don't even. My thesis was amazing. It was really, really good. It was paratextual elements of picture books specifically. Picture books are one of the purest art forms on this planet, and I will take no notes on that. And I don't even know where my thesis is anymore. That's sad. But that was my master's thesis, was paratextual elements. However, I've done once upon a time I was in a gaming podcast and did a whole thing on paratextual elements of role-playing game books. And now I want to talk about paratextual elements of this. Specifically the covers. The first cover has Carl and Donut and the goblins and the murder dozer. And this choice that I assume Penguin Random House chose this, is very different. This is much more sort of like graphic artist's choice, not, you know, not the picture that I've heard both pros and cons. I'm curious what people think about that. And actually, there's 3 covers, because then there's a Kickstarter cover too, which is different again, because this is book 1 as well. Talk about paratextual elements. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
That's good. Hey, I gotta jump off. So.
Okay, thank you for joining.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
I don't know if you can. I don't know. I'm hoping.
How to leave.
I don't know how to leave. Oh, there. I think I did it. I don't know. Somebody did it. Technically, there are 4. What's the other cover? There's these 3. What's the 4th? There's for the webtoon. What's the 4th cover? The original. That's not the actual, like the first like paperback version. Was there one on like Royal Road before? What was there? The one that's on Audible is technically the 2nd. The original cover had an 80s, 90s vibe to the illustration, which may be a wink to the 90s RPGs. Yes, please, come on. Guests. In our last 6 minutes, because we do want to be done by 9, to go to the Ginger and the Foxes. But in our last 6 minutes, special guest and feet picture connoisseur. I think I invited you, didn't I? Richie, I invited you. Come and tell us about the covers. So the idea, as hopefully I did this right, and inviting Richie. The idea for this is, honestly, every Sunday I want to come on and do this, and I'm going to try to see if I can click it again. Oh, I'm on a PC. Yeah, okay, I can't help you. I'm on a PC too, but I literally no clue. My idea is that literally every Sunday. So I have scoped out all of the chapters of all of the books. I can tell you right now how many there are. For all 7 books, there are 376 chapters. And that does not include Pineapple Cabaret. It doesn't include any of like the end things. This is just the chapters. So this isn't the epilogues, which obviously the epilogues are some of the best parts in these books. 376 chapters. Book 1 has 47 chapters. Book 2 has 25. Book 3 has 34. Book 4 had 34. Then 77, 72, and 87. So that being said, I have all the chapters and the 29 weeks until these books come out. So I have been thoughtful with chapters and books and timing of doing this reread. So the idea is that next Sunday to come on and talk about chapters 7 through 20. We can talk about, the book in general as well, but this is when now Donut sort of makes her appearance. And that's the main thing I want to talk about next time is the perception of Donut, because there is a lot of hatred for her in this community. And I'm still under the impression that a lot of that is misogyny. But I am okay to have that conversation and hear other opinions on it. I agree. Donut is the star and is the main character of these books. But she is not... So like even when I was talking about the first few chapters and saying, oh, they fought the goblins. No, it wasn't they. It was just Carl. Donut does not become a character until chapter 7. So that's what next week's going to be. I'm hoping, the idea is that these would start at 9 EST, so a little bit later. But today, Ginger and the Foxes are coming on at 9 to do their book giveaway, and I want to give some space for that. I'm not going to just hit end right away, though, in 3 minutes. Other thoughts? Oh. I did already invite. I'm going to invite again. Oh, I sent another invitation. Yay!
Hi.
Hello!
I don't know why it's not letting me do this on my computer, but...
I couldn't tell you. But you're here.
Come on. There we go.
There you are.
Hi. So, no, I'm supposed to be on live with them at 9:30.
Okay, all right.
So I'm trying to get this set up because I had to get a new laptop and everything. But there is a original cover.
Okay.
And it's... So the cover that most people think of when they think Dungeon Crawler Carl is the one that's on the paperback where he's running from the goblins.
Yep.
The original one is just him standing there with Donut by his feet, and you see the leather jacket, and the boxers, and he's just standing there. I'm gonna see if I can.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I was gonna say I know.
Plus Agatha. Hold on, Dan. What about Agatha?
I think Agatha you can see in the cover too.
I can see Agatha right now. My dog is Agatha.
It is technically the Royal Road cover. I don't know if you can see that really well or not, but...
Oh, I have seen that. That's, oh my gosh, where does that image shows up, and I was wondering where it came from.
It's the Royal Road one.
I know, but on something, if you look at, crap, on something, that image does pop up on something, and I didn't know what it was from. Oh, here! It's on TikTok, I think. If you search on a TikTok, maybe that's the one that pops up. Or something. It's something weird. And I'm like, where? I just thought that was like a fan art thing.
Nope. That is the original cover that was on.
Did Matt draw any of these? Do you know?
I don't know. I know he does art, so I don't know. I could ask him, but he doesn't want to talk to me. He hates me.
He sends you feet pictures.
Yeah, because he hates me.
He talks about you on Facebook and other social media, so that's pretty cool.
because he tortures me. That's how he does it.
All I have is like, telling him I want his autograph, but like telling him he has to wash his hands before I'm going to talk to him. So like that's the most I have.
I love Matt. He's one of my favorite people. My question is, how do I join a live on the desktop? I don't know how.
Yes, this is the guy that gets all those feet pictures.
That's me. Hi.
And aren't you the foot model as well? Didn't you say that?
Yes, if you see the Kickstarter for books 2 and 3, if you watch the video and the foot that comes down and crushes the books, that is my foot.
Awesome.
I had to be a foot model for it, so yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me. That was exciting.
Welcome. You are most welcome. Like I said, I'm just trying to figure out how this to...
Yeah, well, hey, you have like 30 minutes to try to figure it out for your next live.
Well, I was hoping I could get it figured out by you inviting me, because it's like, yeah, I can go live, and it gives me the option to like go live.
To join another one.
But to join, that's where I don't know.
So, my idea is that I'm going to try to... This is just my general statement to anybody who's left. Put out some more discussion questions, and we can come back here next week and talk about those.
That's still really freaking cool, and I'm happy you guys are doing this. I think we need more lives. I need to start doing stats on TikTok, but it's a night.
I mean, this is my first time, so next week I'll probably be, I'll be a little less fumbly, but not much. I need a few times.
That is fair. But I will dip out of here so you can finish up your stuff, everyone.
Awesome. I'll see you on the gym. I don't know these grounds. I like them, but
yeah. Gifts. People are sending you gifts.
That's awesome. Yay. Thank you. Thank you, people.
All right. I will talk with you later.
Thanks. All right, everyone. I'm going to close this to go and check out Ginger and the Foxes. And they're live, but I will be back here next week at 9 Eastern Standard, and we're going to talk about Princess Donut and through chapters 20. So that's your assignment. I will do like a recap, like what happened through chapter 20. So if you don't get a chance to read it, then, just a reminder if you've already read it and just need the reminder. And otherwise, thank you, everyone. Bye.